Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Hearty good morning on this hump day as we roll to the Bucs' first playoff game of this season coming up on Sunday. Basically an elimination game, as far as I'm concerned, with the Carolina Panthers. And the Lightning are back in action tonight. They got a couple of back-to-back home games. In fact, 3 in the next 4 days they'll be playing at home, and then it is a long, long stretch on the road. So welcome into the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate you joining us each and every day. And we always say thank you very much, and subscribe to our YouTube page. We're going to have a new YouTube page with our new collaboration with DSP Media. We'll tell you more about that as the show goes along. Just going to have to go like and subscribe that, and you can watch us on YouTube, same place, basically, if you're a YouTube watcher. But we'll give you all that information as we roll through the day today and into next week. That'll happen on January 9th. We're very excited about that new collaboration with DSP Media out of Dallas. So a lot of good things happening for the new year. Very excited about it. I'll say good morning to you, Nick Geddes from Outsider.com. How are you? A little sleepy this morning?
A little tired.
Post-Christmas hangover?
A little post-Christmas hangover this morning.
You had a second Christmas yesterday, right?
I had a second Christmas yesterday in between kind of 2 work shifts. So it was a little bit of a long day, but
yeah,
we still got lots to talk about. And I woke up this morning and
Did you get something better than a toothbrush?
I'm not even going to reveal what I got.
No.
What I got was so personal. I opened it up. And I made eye contact with Casey's mom across the room. And she's like, you don't have to open the rest of it up. And I said, thank you. I said,
God,
thank
I got
you.
to know now.
I'll leave you with that cliffhanger. Maybe I'll tell y'all later.
Okay.
Maybe I'll tell y'all later. But no.
What could that be?
I don't know.
Casey's mom giving
it was so bad. I didn't even want to even like.
It was so bad?
I did not. It's so good, but it's so bad like for other people to know about it. And I just didn't want anybody on her family to see me open this gift.
That's a tough one.
Well, listen, hold up. Listen, it was already awkward because I got there at around 1:15. Okay. They had already done brunch. They had already opened all their gifts. Mm-hmm. So I come walking in. All eyes are on me.
Right.
Oh, your gifts are under the tree. Go open. And everybody's looking at me. Very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable situation. I don't know what I'm getting. I mean, very uncomfortable situation.
Gosh, now what could that be? Anyway, we got a nice Christmas present from the Bucs as they put Ryan Jensen on the 21-day window to come back from injury, and we've been waiting for this for quite some time. We've been hearing that Ryan's going to come back, and it's been a weird situation. By the way, Dave Michigan going to join us at 10:15 from the morning skate as the Lightning get set to take on the Les Habitants tonight. It's Montreal tonight, New York tomorrow, right? Yeah, okay. Marty's in town, so we'll be chatting. The media will be chatting with him as well. So we hope to bring you some of those conversations as the day goes on. But the big news: Ryan Jensen will be eligible to come back now. Could play this week, although I doubt that very seriously. But we just don't know. This is the biggest, most mysterious injury of all time because we really haven't been updated about it. Ryan's been around. We've seen him walking around, just for the past, 3 months. It's like he's been walking fine without a limp. And I was told that Ryan went the stem cell route. Instead of getting surgery, he wanted to do stem cells and try and heal that way, which is, nobody knows. Well, I shouldn't say nobody knows, but there's a lot of interesting research and a lot of great results from stem cells. Now, I don't recall anyone trying to heal an ACL or whatever he got. We just don't know much except the swelling hopefully has gone down by now. That's all we were told for a month, is that the swelling had not gone down, and they've been trying to keep this like super secret and everything. So it's interesting to note that hopefully when we find out everything that's been going on, how they handled the injury, and if they didn't get surgery, will they eventually have to get surgery? We just don't know. So I think it's a big. He could come back and be playing. Remember Vita Vea, how that worked? Now that was a little different because he could platoon and didn't have to play every snap. You're not going to put a center in there and alternate snaps. But I think what's really interesting about Ryan Jensen is right now the Bucs have a crisis at tackle. right? Josh Wells is on injured reserve. Donovan Smith didn't play last week. Tristan Wirfs re-injured his ankle. You're looking at Brandon Walton now, and Jason School or whoever that guy was on the practice squad. What's interesting about that is, where did Robert Hainsey play in college? Right tackle at Notre Dame. Now, obviously, he hasn't played any tackle in the NFL, but he's played a lot at Notre Dame. It's not a position that's foreign to him. And if Jensen were to come back, and you could move him to one of your tackle spots, whether, you could move him to right tackle, maybe Tristan Wirfs to left tackle, or keep Tristan at right and move Hainsey out to left. I don't know, but it does give you more flexibility in a very, very desperate situation. I mean, I don't think you want to go into this game against the Panthers with Brandon Walton, and I don't even know who would be the other tackle at that point. I don't.
Your guess is as good as mine.
I mean, that's how far down the list we are. So Hainsey could. It certainly would be better to have a starter, a guy that's played in the NFL a lot and knows how to, how the offensive line works, what the calls are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because you don't want to move Hainsey to left guard and take Nick Leverett out, because Nick Leverett's playing fantastic football.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Luke Gedeke played some tackle.
Oh, that's
college,
right. Yeah,
so,
he's a swing tackle as well.
But he'd probably be first up on the list.
Yikes!
Other than moving Hainsey over there, if I had to guess. Either way, I don't like. I just don't like I don't like that development at all.
Yeah, and my God, I mean, this week coming up, it's been bad enough with our first offensive line with Tristan Wirfs in there that Brady hasn't been able to trust his protection, although it's clearly not Wirfs' fault at all. But he's basically playing on one leg now. For him to come back from that injury in 3 weeks, I thought was a freaking miracle. And, will he be able to go this week? So it's going to be a patchwork offensive line. Even if, if Brian comes back, it gives you a little bit of flexibility, and it would be a tremendous emotional return for him and give you a little bit of identity. I think it helps the run game, but you just don't know what you're going to get from Ryan Jensen. It's all a crapshoot at this point, but it's all you got left. I mean, to be honest, this offensive line now is in complete shambles. Let's just, call it like it is. And if Donovan Smith can't come back, Brian Burns, the whole Carolina crew, that is not going to be good. And we're not even talking about the strength of this Panthers team, which is running the football. Is Vita Vea going to be back to help stop the run? Because I'm here to tell you, if Vita Vea doesn't come back, the Bucs are going to struggle mightily to stop the running game of the Panthers. They're just undersized on defense right now, and they have been, when teams wanted to run the football, including the Carolina Panthers in the 21-3 whipping of the Bucs earlier in the year, they ran for 173 yards, and that was a huge, huge key. And their defense played their ass off against the Bucs, and that was when the Bucs had their A offensive line in there. So, stop me when you hear a advantage for the Buccaneers in this game. I'm not seeing it. I mean, you love Tom Brady vis-a-vis Sam Darnold, but Tom Brady's going to be playing behind a patchwork offensive line, standing in the same spot.
The difference there is the Panthers are doing a much better job of hiding the deficiencies of Sam Darnold and working around his deficiencies
by running the football.
And the Bucs, I'm not trying to say they're not trying to, they just can't do it efficiently. Like Tom Brady still ended up throwing 48 times in that Arizona game. They ran 30-something times, and he still threw the ball 48 times.
Yeah, it's too much.
And it's too much because the running game, I mean, again, Leonard Fournette had, 72 yards on the ground, something like that?
Yeah, and Rachaad White was averaging 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, and he got there on 20-something carries. It was like 3.6 a clip or whatever. So
yeah, you want to use the slower back with the Liz Frank injury over the faster back who's healthy.
Well, yeah, we've already established that.
That's definitely the strategy you want to use. But I mean, where do you see an advantage for the Bucs here? I mean, I'm having a hard time finding it.
It's crazy thing to say.
Can they run the ball? No. Can they throw the ball with this offensive line protecting Tom Brady? No.
No, and
can they stop the run?
It's no longer a thing where we can go, well, they're the more talented team. Oh, well, they have better players. It's like we're past that point.
Matter.
We're past that point now.
Yeah.
I mean, we went through it yesterday in the entire NFC. The Bucs have scored the least amount of points in the entire NFC And
they are who they are.
They just are who they are. The Panthers have scored more points.
The collection of their all-star parts is much less than.
Yeah. The Panthers have scored more points with the crew of Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, P.J. Walker, Blackshear, Deonta Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, and DJ Moore and a probably makeshift wide receiving core. They've scored more points with that.
Facts.
In the Bucs. Those are facts.
Big facts.
So yeah, I mean, you're looking for ways where the Bucs can dominate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where it is.
You try to find individual segments where, the Bucs will win here, the Bucs will win there. I mean, can they get pressure on Sam Darnold with their blitz packages? They have to. That's a must. I think the Panthers rolled up over 500 yards last week. And so it's not just running the football. Sam made some plays down the field as well. He ran it in for a touchdown. Point is, it's great to get Jensen back. I doubt he's going to play this week. I don't think and we're going through these how we could patchwork the offensive line, but I think the main thing is he's probably not going to play this week. You got to hope that Donovan Smith is back. And you got to hope that Tristan Wirfs is back. But how good are they going to be able to play?
Yeah, and I have to think because of the magnitude of this game, it's essentially a tiebreaker game here.
It's the season.
It's the season. That these guys are going to do whatever they can to get out there. Yeah. So I'm assuming we're going to get these guys back. Mm-hmm. Honestly, you're going to be as full strength as I think you can be. The Ryan Jensen thing, I mean, I don't think he's playing at all this week. But, I mean, part of me wonders, is it too late in the season? Because it's such a transition to come back there and
he's going to have to play 70 plays, 75 plays.
You're not doing a rotation at center.
No.
You're not doing that. So part of me wonders if it's too late. But to be honest with you, we've kind of been, kind of analyzing Brady's body language and just, I don't know, for lack of a better term, sadness of the season. It almost kind of started with the Ryan Jensen injury. Remember the first press conference that we played here back in July or whatever when he got injured? And from the get-go, he's kind of been like that all season.
He was kind of pissed at it because he didn't really talk till like 4 or 5 days after it happened.
Yeah.
And I sensed that he was pissed that they hadn't made a move to go get somebody else.
But I think in general, though, like Jensen was his guy.
Of course.
And that was one of the first phone calls he made when he decided that he was unretiring. I want my center back. Yeah. This guy brings a mentality here. I need him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he goes down before the season, and he's already like, man, Marpet retired. Gronk's not here. Now Jensen's not here. Those are the three hosses of that team.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're all gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he almost is like the most important player, I think, to Brady right now in his mind. So, even though I think it might be too late a little bit, it might provide a little bit of a juice a little bit.
I mean, listen, I know we're kind of making the Panthers sound like they're, one of the best teams in the league. They have won 4 of their last 6 games. They're playing their ass off.
They beat this team.
Yeah, and they beat this team 21-3. And they, they're playing for their coach. I mean, Steve Wilks as the interim coach. I saw an interview. I'm trying to think who it was. It escapes me. One of their team leaders, basically saying, "Look, we want Steve Wilks to be the coach. We want him to be the guy." And Steve Wilks is a great story. He grew up in the area there in Charlotte, and was dreaming of being the head football coach there. And now he's got this opportunity. He's got his team playing well. Despite look at the talent on that team and look what he's getting out of that team compared to what the Bucs are getting out of their talent. I mean, he's done a much better coaching job than this staff has, no question about it. 100%. They have an identity. They know who they are. They go out and they do what they do. They're not some awesome football team that's going to go win the Super Bowl, but I respect the way they play. They play their ass off. They play hard for their coach, and they're playing for their coach's job. They know that if they can win the NFC South, how the hell do you fire Steve Wilks? How do you not? How do you not give him the job? If this group of ragtag guys come up here and sweep the Bucs, the mighty Bucs and Tom Brady, and win the NFC South, even at 8-9, he's going to get the job. So they're playing with emotion. They're playing for something. They're playing for something meaningful.
That's what I'm
to them.
Sam Darnold's playing for his NFL career.
Yeah. And he's 4-1 as a starter, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty damn close, I think. Yeah. He's playing for his NFL career. I mean, all these other guys, the running back crew, who's going to be the guy after McCaffrey? Well, Deonta Foreman is making a pretty good case to be that guy. These guys are all playing for their careers and their starting jobs. I'm not saying the Bucs aren't playing for a lot because they are, but
it doesn't seem like it.
It doesn't seem like it. Yeah. We're kind of waiting for that to show through.
Right. It doesn't seem like they're playing hard. It doesn't seem like they're playing for themselves. I mean, for the team collective. It's just it's a much different vibe than what you have in Carolina. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Dave Mishkin, the voice of your Tampa Bay Lightning, will join us from morning skate as the Lightning get back going after their Christmas break. And again, a couple of losses to enter the Christmas break, so it's been a while since they won a hockey game. So we'll talk to Mish when we come back. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency, and by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you did not get what you think you deserved in your totaled accident from your insurance company, which is what they normally do, you probably have a case. So find out. Free call. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com, make an appointment, and find out if you have a case. You could get hundreds of thousands of dollars back. You never know. Make the call. We'll be back with Mish next. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to jeeveslawgroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Residents and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com.
Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386-722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com, who remind you, do not drink and drive this holiday season. Not a good idea, ever. And if something were to happen, you can call the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. All right, we want to welcome in the voice of your Tampa Bay Lightning, the great Dave Mishkin. Dave, happy holidays to you and your family, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us this morning from the Morning Skate. How are you?
I'm good. Yes, it is a morning skate morning for the Lightning, following an afternoon get back to work skate yesterday.
Yes.
I'm glad that they let them come in the afternoon, because I think the practice was originally scheduled, JP, for the morning, but it's the day that the mandated league-wide holiday schedule ended. There were games last night,
right? But
if you're not playing, they gave them a little extra time to get back into town. Nice. If guys are out of town and came in for the afternoon practice. But now it's going to get busy. 3 games in 4 days at home, and then a lot of road games in January.
Yeah, you guys are going to be on the road a lot in January, and they've kind of made their hay at home. I think 12-4-1 at home this year, which is great, and you want to, extend that. And plus, they're coming off losing 2 in a row. You saw both of those games, a dominant defensive performance by Toronto. Just wow! I was listening to your podcast a couple days ago on the strike, and you were talking about how few actual scoring chances that the Lightning had in that game, by like maybe 3 or 4 in the whole game, right? So that was a bit of an eye-opener, was it not?
Yeah, when I say that, JP, I mean, there are websites that track scoring chances. I actually don't pay attention to any of them because I don't really understand their methodology. I'm not throwing shade at them. Maybe I am a little bit.
Yeah, you are, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's one person's opinion or their methodology of tracking. It doesn't always jive with what you see on the ice, or at least what I see on the ice. In that game, though, I mean, I would be hard-pressed to remember more than 2 or 3 scoring chances the Lightning had legitimately, which, whether you're going off some kind of website that has a methodology or just the eye test, I think you're going to reach the same conclusion that Toronto defended very, very well in that game. It was a different story the next night in Detroit. The Lightning got plenty of scoring chances.
Right.
Their problem was more that they didn't defend well at points. I didn't think that they had a terrible defensive performance, but they made some mistakes defensively that proved to be costly, and that swung the balance to the opposition, to the Red Wings. So Lightning had opportunities in that game, JP, to grab that game by the throat. A long 5-on-3 early in the game when they were already up 1-0. You're 3-3 going into the third with a clean sheet of ice starting the third period on the power play, a chance to grab the lead. And they kind of let those opportunities slip through their fingers, and the Red Wings didn't. That happens sometimes. But you're right. They're coming into this game tonight against Montreal having lost 2 in a row. It's only the 3rd time this year that they've lost 2 in a row. They have not, to this point, lost 3 in a row. When you talk about, like, how do you make the playoffs, there are a lot of things that go into it. But one of the most important criteria for making the playoffs is avoiding extended losing streaks. Right. So I think there is urgency, even though they're kind of coming out of the break here, to get back on the winning side of things and end this losing skid at 2.
Dave Mishkin joining us here. 3 games in 4 days, as you mentioned, and we might see some history here as Steven Stamkos is approaching 500 goals and, already reaching the 1,000 milestone this year. And we've had a chance to reflect a little bit on his amazing career. We don't want to act like it's, like he's in the twilight of his career, because he has had a resurgence, to be sure, with a 100-point season last year. But I think it's so well earned and so nice to be able to talk about him and reflect on his career while he's still filling up the net, right? And we may see something very, very special. Only 6 other players have achieved 500 goals.
Yeah, it's kind of funny since we started talking about it more intently, because he hit the 1,000 points, and then we're like, well, 500 goals is next. He's got a few games here without scoring, but I do think it's going to come. Hopefully he's not putting pressure on himself. It sounds like, in hearing him speak and in talking to him, he's been in the league long enough. He's hit enough of these milestones to know that if you start sniffing after it, it's going to become more difficult.
Right.
So I think part of all of us would feel, and he maybe feels the same way, just get it over with, right?
Yeah,
so it's no longer a story, and it's not hanging out there. And maybe he'll get the 3 goals before the team turns the calendar to 2023 and hits the road. But I do think it's going to come. And when it comes, it's just going to be another marker in really a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
And he is healthy. We've heard this said about him, and I don't think that we can say it enough because it can't be overstated, that when he had some struggles in his game, and he never really struggled putting the puck in the net during any of this time that he was able to play. I'm talking about not when he was hurt and couldn't play, but when he was battling through either an injury or rehabbing an injury so he couldn't train the way he wanted to, so he was not operating at like optimum capacity, basically. He was still scoring, but I think the rest of his game wasn't where it is now. And why is it at the level that it's at now? Because he has been healthy. He's been able to train. I mean, he's not 39, 40 years old. I mean, he's going to turn 33 in February. I mean, by hockey standards, he's still got a lot of hockey in front of him.
Yeah.
Now, he's had a lot of mileage because he came into the league as an 18-year-old, but he's also missed a lot of time.
Yeah.
And, you know, the wear and tear in terms of games played 80 to 82 every year, he hasn't had that. Now, he's had to deal with rehab from injuries. His leg is not the same after he broke it. His knee is not the same after his meniscus tear. But I think that his body feels good right now, and he's able to do some things that maybe he wasn't able to do prior to him kind of getting over the hump in terms of his health. I mean, we were talking about this on our podcast, JP, and let me ask you this. Like, when the Lightning raised the cup in 2020 in the bubble, and Stamkos played one period, 2 minutes and change, and scored that memorable goal.
Unbelievable.
But as they were celebrating that Stanley Cup championship, if we had asked the question, are Steven Stamkos' best days behind him?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would have felt the answer is yes. And it turns out the answer is no.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable and a credit to him for his dedication to trying to get himself back to a very, very high level.
And speaking of great players, I mean, we obviously know in this market how great Nikita Kucherov is. And I feel like, though, like there's only 4 guys in the NHL right now that are having a better season from a point standpoint than Nikita Kucherov. And I feel like nobody's really talking about it. I mean, he's almost on his pace that he had in 2018-19 when he won the Art Ross. Have we just kind of reached that point in his career where that we're not that maybe the league's taking him for granted, or we're just not talking about him enough, because it just feels like every night we're expecting him to get a point or two?
Yeah, and I think he falls into the same category as the Lightning to some extent. You know, the Lightning are again in playoff positioning. I mean, they're leading the league, but they're certainly better off than a lot of other teams. And it's just like, well, that's the Lightning. Like, no, that's not just the Lightning. It's hard to win in this league. Yeah. It's hard to continually be a team with a target on your back and continually get points in the regular season with the grind of the regular season. So I think Kuch kind of falls into that same category. It's like, well, it's Kucherov. Of course he's going to get his points. Whereas sometimes our attention is grabbed by somebody who's either taken a huge step forward, like a Tage Thompson this year, which, I mean, that guy had 38 goals last year. So it's not like he came out of nowhere, but he's having a tremendous season and deserves the attention that he is getting. Or Connor McDavid, who tends to be so far ahead of everybody else and sprinkles in those highlight real plays that he gets a lot of attention. But I think that's a fair comment that maybe Kuch doesn't get as much attention as maybe he deserves simply because he's done it so consistently. But I think that's a credit to him that he has done it so consistently. He finds a way, even when he is having, by his standards, a subpar game, to still get points and still contribute, which, like I said about Stamkos, is like credit to him for bouncing back from some injury handicaps, essentially. Kucherov deserves credit for, like, when his game is off kilter a little bit, he still finds a way to contribute and help his team get goals and try and get points out of games.
Dave Mishka joining us here from Morning Skate. Hey, Dave, I'll get you out of here on this one, and it's kind of a macro question here. As we look at this, the kind of unofficial start of the second half of the season, we look back on the first half, this Lightning team, 2 games lost, notwithstanding, they still have won 13 of their last 18, and I really thought they were finding their groove. They got their defensive pairings down. The guys that have all integrated into the lines look, really good. They're just playing. They were playing really, really good hockey. How would you evaluate this team's first, so-called 40% of the season, 50%, what do you want to call it, and how they're set up now to make a run and continue to get better as they head towards the playoff run?
Well, look, they want to win the Stanley Cup, but you can't win the Stanley Cup if you don't make the playoffs. Right. So the answer to your question is they're at 32 games. So we still got a little bit of time before the halfway point. But I hear what you're saying. Like we're getting ready to turn the calendar, and it's kind of we're looking ahead to the second half of the regular season. So the two parts are your results. Where are you in the standings? And then the process, which seems to be more important for the coaches, although the results are very important to the coaches as well. The process is kind of how are you playing? Are you playing at a level where you're going to basically ensure that you're going to continue getting points? And are you trending in the right direction? Mm-hmm. So from a result standpoint, it's hard to quibble with where the Lightning are at. Right. I think a lot of teams would be envious of the Lightning standings position, understanding that Boston and Toronto have gotten off to, a tremendous start this year, and they're ahead of the Lightning. But the point for the Lightning is to make the playoffs. It's not to finish first in the division, and they have shown that if they just get into the playoffs, whether they have home ice or not, they can win a series. So, again, this is the metric that I follow, that I think is pretty tried and true. If you can get 12 points in every 10 games, you're basically guaranteeing yourself a playoff spot. And the Lightning are ahead of that pace. So even with the 2 losses in their last 2 games, if you figure they want to get to 48 points through 40 games, they're at 41 points through 32 games. So they're in good shape to keep that pace. And you can just look at the standings. Like right now they're in third, but they do have a gap between themselves and the 4th place team in their division. So from that standpoint, they're in very good shape. Now they have to keep doing it. Just because they had a good 32 games to start the season doesn't ensure that they're going to have a great next 32 games or on top of that through the end of the regular season. But if you ask, where are they at this point, they're in a very good spot as far as their standings position. Then there is the process. And I think we had some questions coming into this year that the Lightning were going to need to answer. Mm-hmm. How do you address the departures of Palat and McDonough and Ruda? Which guys are going to take on bigger roles? Who is going to be new to the roster? And how are those players going to integrate? And I think most of the questions, interestingly, and maybe a little surprisingly, have been answered already. And you touched on it, JP, as far as how the lines are looking. Now, they've tinkered with the Paul Stamkos line with Cirelli back the last few games. We've seen Killorn back with Cirelli. That's how they ran the lines yesterday in practice. And they've kind of alternated some guys in Killorn's spot with Paul and Stamkos. It was Nemestikov in the Detroit game. And at practice yesterday was Ross Colton, who scored in the Detroit game. So maybe he's getting rewarded essentially for scoring in the last game and getting a chance to play in the top 6. But it's a lot more stable now than it was at the start of the year. Right. So who is replacing Palat essentially with Point and Kucherov? Brandon Hagel. Yep. Who is kind of slotting in where McDonough was? Sergachev was asked to do more, and he has done more. But in a way, it's been Ian Cole. Yeah. Ian Cole has slotted in with Chernak as the Lightning shutdown pair. And he does a lot of the same things that McDonough did exceptionally well. Yeah. Defends hard. Great point. Kills penalties, blocks shots, and is a partner to Chernak, which has really, I think, helped the Lightning stabilize their defense core. Then you have the Jan Ruda question. Who's going to play with Hedman? Mm-hmm. This one may still be a work in progress. We've seen different guys there. I think Perbix did well with Hedman. Yes. But now Perbix is back with Sergachev, at least how they ran the D pairs yesterday. Okay. So that one might kind of be like the Stamkos-Paul situation where Lightning are still looking, kind of experimenting, but we've seen some positive results. Like when Perbix was with Hedman, that was very positive. Yes. So, and then I mentioned Perbix. Perbix, I think, was a surprise.
Huge
It was not expected at the start of the year that he would come in and fill the role that he has filled, but good for him, right?
Yeah.
So as I see him skating right now, Bogosian is with Hedman. They've played together in the past, not a lot, because it's normally been Ruda, but Bogosian is no stranger to playing with Victor Hedman.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that looks. But I think if you were to ask, like, how are they playing? They're playing well. These questions that we had coming in as far as how do you deal with these departures that happened during the offseason, I think they've answered a lot of those questions.
Yeah.
But now you get into the grind of the second half. And as you alluded to, JP, the Lightning did very well to cash in when they had a home-heavy schedule for about 6 weeks, November into the first half of December. Now the pendulum is going to switch or flip or sway to the other side.
Yep.
And we're going to see a lot of road games with back-to-backs in there against good opposition. So they have to keep doing it. Yeah. But I think if you're a Lightning fan, you should feel good about where this team is at, both in terms of the results and the process as we approach the halfway point.
Very, very well put. Dave Mishkin, thanks so much, my friend. And tell us where we can hear your lunchtime show that you do each and every day with Greg Linnelli on the strike, right?
Yeah, so all of this has gotten a lot more complicated to explain, but it's actually pretty easy once you figure out. It's like we still have the grocery store. We're just giving you different directions to get to the grocery store.
Right.
So most people, I think, in their cars, if they have a more recent car, have an HD radio.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to 1025, which is the bone, that's the bone, but it's considered HD1. If you move the channel up in a lot of cars, just like you're going to 1027, it's not going to go to 1027. It's going to go to 1025 HD2.
Right.
That is the strike.
Boom.
Other cars, the Steve Versnick has told me, have a different way of getting to the HD, and that's beyond my pay grade or knowledge.
Consult your manual.
You can also listen to us on the TuneIn app.
Yes.
We're also on the TuneIn app, and if you just search Lightning Radio 24/7 on the TuneIn app, you can get us there as well.
Exactly. And more stuff to come on that. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate your time as always. I'll see you at the rink next couple days.
All right, JP. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a great Dave Mishkin. I love that answer. That last, in the macro, the process and where you are, and they're good in both. They're right where they want to be. I use that analogy of running the marathon, and the Bruins ran out and sprinting.
Yeah.
Good for you. Gas yourselves out. Go do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But I like being back in the pack where you can strike. And I think that's where they are.
Yeah, I mean, give the Bruins credit. I think they're trying to do my math here. 16 points ahead.
Yeah,
of the Lightning right now. 27-4-3. That's actually crazy to say out loud. But no,
but we see these teams.
We've done that. But Lightning have done it before.
You've never sustained
exactly.
It. Yeah.
Now I will say things have kind of gotten a little bit tighter in the East, whereas before it was only a 4-team race. All of a sudden, the Lightning, if you're going by just a point standpoint. And the Lightning do have some games in hand on here, so this stuff will change.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
But I believe they're 9th right now in the most points in the East. So things have started to tighten up a little bit.
They're still in third position.
But they're still in third in the Atlantic because the Atlantic, there's a 7-point drop off between them and Detroit.
Yeah. So they're fine as far as where they are. But Mish is right. This road trip is going to be
huge.
Yeah, they've got 11 of the next 14, I believe, against Western Conference too. And they played better against Western Conference than they have against the division. So I think that for whatever reason, the Lightning, have an advantage when they play against teams they don't normally play against.
Yeah.
So
and also too, Dave pointed it out there because I was going to point it out to him as well. Ian Cole, I feel like this guy has been maybe the unsung hero of the season.
He and Perbix.
I mean, but Ian Cole, though, he said it. He kind of took the words right out of my mouth. Has replaced Ryan McDonough and even providing him. He's 33 years old. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. He's been on a lot of really good teams in his career. And I look at just from an offensive standpoint as well, he's on pace to break his entire goal scoring point streak that he's had in his entire career. And he's not really that kind of guy.
Right.
But he's just doing everything right now. And to Dave's point, playing that shutdown role with Eric Chernak. Again, we wonder how Julian Breezeball gets away with these things.
Yeah. He
I mean, he let Jan Ruda walk and went to Pittsburgh and got a 3-year deal. I mean, more power to him.
Yeah.
I think Ian Cole's been a better player than Jan Ruda ever was here so far, and he's on a 1-year deal.
I don't think there's any question about that. Yeah, there's no question about it. The Lightning, Lightning are kind of like the Rays pitchers. They bring guys in that are just average other places, and they turn them into superstars or really effective players. And you can look at Hagel and Nick Paul. Both of those guys are having career years already. and they've acclimated extremely well to this system. And then Perbix comes in and he fits in really great. Ian Cole is revitalized.
Yeah,
it's just it's not. The Lightning do a lot of things well. And one of the things that they do really well is develop players. They develop their skating. Their skating coaches and development coaches are second to none. And these guys just get better to a man. I mean, I can't remember guys coming in here and going, and a guy comes in and goes, "Wow, boy, he really tailed off. He wasn't what he did. He wasn't what we hoped he would be." I mean, I don't remember.
Even the veterans they brought in who you thought had nothing
remember,
left.
I mean, when you talk about Goudreau
and Coleman.
Coleman, I mean, they were good, but they got better.
Yeah.
They got better. They won
and
cups.
They got paid because of it.
And they got paid because of it. Name me a guy that we brought in that has gotten worse. Name me a Nelson Cruz. That just doesn't happen.
There's just not many there.
They come in and they get better, and they flourish here with the Lightning, and that just speaks a lot to their development and their coaching.
I will say, if there's one thing I do want to see, because I feel like the break is almost like we're not at the halfway point.
No, it's about 40%.
Yeah, we're about 40% though, but the break is a nice kind of cutoff point to kind of evaluate, strengths, weaknesses. And I do think they are trending in the right direction. Love Anthony Cirelli being back in there. Would like to see him score a little more, obviously.
Yeah.
But in general, I was going to say they need some more secondary scoring. And I'm looking at Ross Colton. I think we'd all say we expected a little bit more.
Yep. I think of all the guys that I would say we need more from, the Mestikov has been underwhelming.
Yes.
I mean, it's too early to say that
but he's starting to score a little bit.
Yeah, he is. It definitely got his first. And, and he's playing better than I think his stats would indicate. Right.
Yeah. He's been around.
So I'm not, here to say that he's a flop, and don't forget, what's he making? Like $1.5 million?
Yeah.
$2 million. I mean, it's nothing. So, but he could be better. If there's anybody I could say that I'm somewhat disappointed, it'd be Colton and the Mestikov, but it's not like they're playing terrible.
It's just kind of how hockey works. Sometimes you're just not putting the puck in the back. And then I think the Mestikov has been close a lot of times.
He has.
But 2 goals in 31, definitely something that you want to see uptick a little bit.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll hear Tom Brady talk about Ryan Jensen, how close he is to coming back. Speaking of Brady, there may be a new suitor for his services after this year. Is it kind of like a given now that Brady's going to play again? I don't think so, but a lot of people think that way. So we'll hit that as well. There was a big night, a record-setting night last night in the NBA that we have to hit. So lots more to come your way here on the JP Peterson Show. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and also Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com. Back in 3. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605. Oh, 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 Merry Christmas. Santa Claus here for the Golden Diamond Source. All right, it's JP. The holidays are the best time for engagements, right? And where better to get that special ring than the Golden Diamond Source? They have the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. So avoid all the mall madness and the parking and all that BS and stay local, right? With the Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub are the family jewelers, and they'll treat you like family. And, of course, they do so many great things in the community. I was just at their Hands Across the Bay, a charity event. So many people stepped up to give money for these women that have been victims of domestic abuse. It is something to behold when these women come forward and talk about what Julie and Steve have done for them. And the Golden Diamond Source funds Hands Across the Bay, and so many other great companies jump in. That's what it's all about, community, right? So let's keep it local for the holidays. If you want a perfect gift for the holidays, you should check out the unique and beautiful handcrafted jewelry from the Emilique and Julie collections that feature fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry. And don't forget, for the holidays only, 3 to 5 year interest-free financing. It's a no-brainer for the holidays. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately, or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We thank you so much for joining us each and every day. We do 2 hours of Tampa Bay sports-centric conversation with some of the best guests. We had Sal Palantonio on yesterday. We're going to play a little bit of that in our second half of the show here to as we hit the Bucs a little harder. Couple of other things we want to get to here this morning. And this just is kind of a developing story. The Tua Tagovailoa story, he is in the concussion protocol. And, you know, the way the league is handling this is just really, really bizarre. I saw them trot out their head of medical concussions or whatever his name is. He was doing interviews yesterday, and he was talking about they were going through the tape and they couldn't find where there was an injury. And he didn't show any symptoms during the game. Well, that's not true. Just quite frankly, that is not true, because it seems like everyone who is not a doctor, and some people that are doctors, by the way, and some people that work with the concussion protocols and working, studying these brain injuries, have pointed out exactly the play, right? And you were pointing it out to me where he got slammed to the ground and got the whiplash on the back of the head, which is one of the, you know, that's how he got his last concussion, I believe it was.
Yeah, it looks eerily similar.
Yeah.
It really does. So for the doctor, whoever it was that went out there and said we didn't find anything,
wow,
you're just, again, you're lying to the public, and that's a big problem here. But so, yeah, this play occurred, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it on Twitter and whatnot. It was 2:40 left in the second. Miami had a 20-10 lead. Tua was 9 for 12 with 229 yards, averaging 19.1 yards an attempt, a touchdown, no picks. After this play where he looks like he suffered the concussion, 7 of 13, 81 yards, just 6.2 yards per attempt, and 3 interceptions, and the Dolphins were kept off the scoreboard the rest of the game.
And the 3 interceptions were bad. They were like, where the hell are you throwing the ball? There was one over the head of Tyreek Hill. He was wide open, and he had no pressure. There was another one he threw out into the flat where he just he clearly didn't see the defender because he was it was 3 head scratchers.
And this was interesting too. I saw this, and this is from Armando Salguero of Outkick, covers the Dolphins really well. He said that this quote had stuck out to him before he entered the protocol. When he was asked about one of the interceptions, he said, the second interception, I might have said the wrong play. I'm not too sure. There was just some communications errors on that.
Well, there you go.
So it just comes off like he just had zero clue what was going on.
Yeah. And you don't think guys noticed that in the huddle? Of course they did. Of course they did. When's the last time a player basically turned himself in to the concussion police after the game? I don't remember it, to be quite honest. I don't think, but Tua did. And when you look at this play, I missed it because, you know, he gets the ball away and the camera kind of goes to the other player, but you can see the whiplash of his head hitting the ground. Oh, I'm watching it again. And that's clear as day. That's clear as day. That's a concussion. And so he went into halftime and spoke with the coaches. And here's the problem. Obviously, football is an extremely physical game. And guys could be, they could appear tired. They could appear, just maybe a little out of focus because maybe, they're in the emotion of the game. I mean, it's not like you're sitting at the dinner table with somebody and there's a lot going on in a football game. So I get it. Not everything is a concussion, right? So I get that. But when you're dealing with Tua and this situation, you got to be watching it very clearly. And clearly on that play, you can see it. And after the fact, for the NFL doctor to say they went through the tape and didn't find anything, what are you doing? Like, that's just a bull-faced lie. You can't tell me. So let's show that to the NFL doctor and say, okay, this one wasn't. What are you going to say about that? Well, we didn't think that was a hard enough hit. Are you out of your mind? Then you know nothing about football concussions. That's just, I don't know what the NFL is trying to accomplish with that. That's just stupid.
And I'm not going to say that I know the answers to this. And I was telling you in the break, like, I feel so conflicted when it comes to these type deals because, I mean, these guys know what they're signing up for.
Exactly.
They know the risk and injuries happen. They just do. But because we saw the thing with Tua's hands earlier this year, I think our guard is just raised a little bit when it's him.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. And that's probably why he turned himself into the concussion protocol. and said, "Hey, I'm having this again." And he understands the significance of it. But if you're Tua, and I know this has been talked about a lot, I mean, you're a third-year quarterback. I'm not sure if his fifth-year option has been picked up. I don't think it has.
Not yet. He's not eligible until after this year.
Yeah, I mean, this team was undefeated at one point this season when you were playing. Now they've lost 4 in a row. You're kind of, again, back to where you're playing for your job again next year, your job security.
Yep.
We've already gone down the Tom Brady rabbit hole of how much it makes sense. I'm sure that's in the back of his mind somewhere. You want to be out there and play. Oh, and by the way, you've fallen to the last playoff spot, and there's like 4 teams that are just a game behind you. So it's kind of important. So I'm conflicted on this thing when a lot of people come out and say, well, the Dolphins need to shut him down now, and he doesn't need to play anymore the rest of the season. This is enough. That's easy for everybody to say on the outside. But if you're Tua Tagovailoa, do you really want to do that?
No. Look what's at stake. Look what's at stake. I mean, yes, his health is at stake. I get it. But you know what else is at stake? $250 million. That's the difference. It's like, this is the weird part about quarterbacks.
It's uncomfortable to say. It's like we're talking about money and his health and everything.
Exactly. But it's real.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing, folks. Do you want to risk? I mean, there's no absolute, if he continues to play, he's not going to be, there's not an absolute outcome that he's going to be a vegetable by age 40. That's probably not going to be the case. Okay. We don't know, but we know this. If he goes out there and plays and recaptures the magic that he had earlier in the season and finishes strong, he's on. I mean, who wouldn't pick up his? I mean, 4 or 5 games ago, would you not say, yeah, we're going to pick up his extension? Damn right.
Heartbeat, yeah.
And you know what? Those extensions are not. It's not like there's a middle ground. When you get that extension as a quarterback, you're a franchise quarterback. You get the going rate, which right now is about $240 million guaranteed. Now he can go from that to being replaced by Tom Brady and be out there on the market, and suddenly he's Jameis Winston. You're getting nothing. So what's at stake for Tua Tagovailoa? $250 million. That's what's at stake. And you're going to tell him that he can't play because of this? That's a lot. That's a lot. If he wants to play and he's quote cleared to play, then he should be able to play. So, but we're in a part where there's nothing objective about this. They can't, put a temperature gauge on his head and say, oh, it's 105. You got a really bad fever. You got to sit down. It's all subjective. It's all subjective on how he feels, how he looks. There are some metrics, obviously, that they try to do baseline metrics on your brain, on your functions. So all the players do this now. They do, detailed, oriented, touch your nose, this type stuff. It's more elaborate than that to give them kind of a feel on how quick their reactions, their reaction times and certain things that they test, and they get baseline stuff. And then if you're in concussion protocol, they go back and do it again to see how your brain is working, if the synapses are firing as fast and all those stuff. I'm simplifying it tremendously and certainly don't know the details of it, but I'm trying to, there are some baseline numbers you can get, but for the most part, it's pretty much the call of the doctor, and the feedback from the player, which of course they can lie, right? Mm-hmm. Is so important in them doing the diagnosis. So it's kind of a crapshoot.
Well, I think we're asking though, is like for the obvious ones that we can see,
right?
Let's take action.
Exactly.
And again, I go back to also a few weeks ago on Monday Night Football. I think it was the Patriots were playing the Cardinals, I think, and Devontae Parker went down. Got hit really hard.
Right.
And then he's like kind of stumbling all over and can hardly stand up. And the referees are just like oblivious to it. I mean, the sideline judge is right there looking at Devontae Parker stumbling and bumbling and not doing anything about it.
Right.
And what did it take? It took for Nelson Aguilar to basically go crazy and get everybody's attention. Yeah. Like, this guy can't stand. He needs to get off the field.
That shouldn't happen.
Those are the things that we're like, and again, we got guys that are up top that are supposed to be monitoring these things. They're getting paid, probably pretty handsomely, by the way, to literally look and see if anybody's stumbling and mumbling out there.
How do they miss the Tua one?
That's what I'm saying.
His head was slammed to the turf.
That's what I'm saying.
On the back
I don't have the issue. I don't have the answers for all this stuff. And I know the NFL's trying to find the best answers for it, but you got to help yourself out when it's the obvious things like this.
Yeah, so much of this really doesn't make sense. So we'll monitor it, but obviously, I didn't think Tua was going to come back and play after that one very, very scary incident. I didn't think he was going to come back, but he did, and he played really, really well. But those numbers are startling, and if you watch the way he played, it's startling. And clearly, he was affected by the concussion, and also, not for nothing, if Tua doesn't play, who's their backup?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Right. they're not going anywhere with Teddy Bridgewater. So you've got a whole bunch of Dolphins that are also, looking for some playoff checks that have their best interest in mind. And I'm not saying you go out and put a guy in a dangerous position for money, but if he can play and he clears concussion protocol, you let him play. But we're getting to the point now where every time, he takes a hit on the head, he gets a concussion, and that's dangerous. We all know that's dangerous. So it's I'm not here to say I have all the answers, but I can certainly point out where they're doing things wrong. And that's pretty obvious in this particular situation. All right, so back to the Buccaneers. This whole Gronk situation kind of happened. The story kind of developed over last week when everybody was on Christmas break, including myself. And it's a little bizarre to me, to be quite honest. That's such a integral piece of your team the last couple of years reaches out to the team, and somehow that deal doesn't get done. Like, I don't understand that. And I don't understand the inner workings. Obviously, I don't have the information from Gronk. I don't have the information from the team. All of that obviously is proprietary, and they're not really talking about that. My feeling is, if the guy showed some interest to come back and play, isn't it incumbent upon the organization to, motivate him, do whatever you got to do to get him in the building and get him playing? I mean, again, there may be something in there that maybe just Gronk decided, maybe I don't want to play. I don't know.
That sounds like what it was.
Does it, though?
That's what.
Well, then why would he pick up the phone?
I don't know. Maybe you said he was bored. Maybe he was just bored one day, and he's like,
Well, but I mean, was it money?
No, it doesn't sound like it was money. Not money.
Well, then if he wanted, so did they?
He just wasn't all there.
If he picks up the phone, so it was the Bucs that said, we really don't feel like you're all in.
I mean, that's one way to interpret it from the outside. Speculation, obviously.
Yeah.
But
we need more information on this.
We definitely need more information
on this.
I mean, we do have a clip here.
Yeah, let's hear the clip from Gronk and then from Brady.
Yeah, and this was on the Up and Adams, hosted by Kay Adams show from Gronk the other day, asking why he did not come out of retirement.
Okay.
So I'm in Mexico right now, and I was listening to the Spanish call of this game, but I was also looking at Twitter, and I understand that Collinsworth and Tirico were bringing you up a lot in the game. They were saying the Bucs miss Gronk, they miss him in the pass game, they need him in the run game. Does it give you an itch to come help your buddy out at all? What do you think about that when you know that they're saying your name, you're not even out there?
I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the compliments.
We love it.
Just show my glass one more time. Just how awesome I am. But no, I mean, I definitely miss everyone over there. I'm talking that was the best, a great 2 years I had over there. It was a great situation I had going on. It was the situation I wanted as well to finish off, my final years in the NFL. And I definitely do miss the guys. They're great guys in the locker room. But I don't really have an itch to go back. I mean, if I did, I'm sure I would have went back already instead of week 17 after a blizzard, I sitting in Buffalo. I'm not really prepared right now to go back at all either. The mindset, mentally or physically, not prepared at all. But I'm just enjoying my time. And hey, we're FanDuel athletes now. FanDuel retired athletes. I'm with FanDuel now. They're putting me to work. Yeah. They're keeping me busy, keeping you busy. So I'm happy. As long as I'm working, doing something, keeping my mind going, then things are good. So no, I don't have the itch at all to go out there and play that game of football.
Then why did you call the Bucs? What? Why did he pick up the phone and call the Bucs? Because he was bored. Well, well, that's it. That's the most declarative I've heard him as far as not wanting to play.
I mean, I'm not a football player, obviously, but you can maybe say to yourself, man, yeah, I think I'm ready to play. And then you make that call and you talk about it. And then you kind of think about, oh, well, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to go back to practice. I got to have more of a commitment. I got to be here. I got to be there, travel, all this kind of stuff. And maybe he just kind of talked himself back out of it.
I got to try and block JJ.
Like, you got to be because I think Gronk knows too, and I feel like he gets unfairly labeled as this guy who just kind of shows up and does his own thing.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's true at all.
No,
he definitely. You don't become the greatest tight end of all time unless you're studying the game and much like Brady doing it your way.
Yeah,
and maybe he just feels like I know that I can't do it my way, that I need to be completely sharp. It's probably not fair to the team. It's not fair to myself. It's not fair to anybody. So I'm sure those are probably conversations he had with people, had with himself. and maybe just said, you know what, I'm not completely all in. I probably shouldn't do this, especially for someone like him with a long injury history.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he just didn't want to take that chance right now. And I mean, maybe next year when he has a full off season to think about it and get himself in shape a little bit, maybe he thinks differently. Maybe he miscounted how easy maybe he thought it would be just to jump in during midseason and turn everything on.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that faced with the real realities of what the Bucs wanted him to do. Maybe he just decided, but that's pretty declarative what I heard there. What else do we have? Brady on Jensen's return?
Yeah.
Okay, here's Brady on if Jensen can return.
I think that's still to be determined. I know he's been very vigilant with his rehab. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows right now. I know he's a lot closer than I know he's itching to be out there. I see him every day. I try to encourage him every day. That would be a big boost if that did happen, but I'm not sure the probability at this point.
Yeah, it would be a huge boost if it happens. And we don't know how far along Brian is, but if he does come back, and we talked about it at the beginning of the show, it would give them some flexibility with Hainsey, who's played right tackle in college. Leverett, I think, has played a little bit of tackle as well. Gedeke has played, so it gives them a little bit of flexibility. But they're going to, and this is the biggest. If Donovan Smith and Wirfs can't play, now we're really, really depending on the coaching staff to find the right personnel. Okay, the right combination of guys and the right scheme in terms of helping and chipping, et cetera, to offset these injuries. Anybody got confidence in this coaching staff to be able to do that offensively? Raise your hand. Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Yeah, no. I have no confidence in this staff being able to coach around a patchwork offensive line.
And
they've scored almost the least amount of points with an offensive line that's rated number 2 in the league in pass blocking. Okay, I mean, this offensive line, I think, has got a bit of I think we've trashed it a little bit too much, because I'm not saying that the numbers of they're number 2 in the league in pass blocking are necessarily correct. In terms of, grades, I get it. But most of that is Brady getting the ball out quick and not having, he's not trusting his protection for good reason. Because when he does take the 5-step drops or the 7-step drops where plays have to develop down the field, he's getting pressure and he's getting hit. He doesn't like that. So he gets rid of the ball way quicker than he probably should.
Yeah,
so
it is kind of interesting. Like, he's literally, of the quarterbacks who have been starters since the season began, he's gotten sacked the least of every single one. It's crazy to think about. And it's like, but it's just an example of how stats can be skewed sometimes, because if you watch the game, there's a reason why he's not getting sacked as much.
They're not as good as number 2 in the league.
No.
In pass protection.
No.
But they're not as bad as
I don't think
number
they're 30,
27 in the league in points as we are. They're somewhere in the middle. And I think there's and that's why Jensen is so important, because I think Brady would trust it more if Jensen were out there.
But this is why I'm saying I think this offensive line is somewhere maybe in that 12 to 18 range. And to be honest, I think that's good enough.
Yeah, with the weapons that this team has and the quarterback that they have, that should not go from 30 points to 17.
Yeah, I think that's good enough, and that's where
you should be about 24 to 25 points. And if you were, you'd have 3 more wins.
Yes, and I know it's not popular to bang on Tom Brady at all. I get that, but this is where I come back to Brady then, because I don't think this offensive line is as horrendous as everybody thinks. I've said multiple occasions, I think there's moments where he should probably trust it a little bit more.
100%.
And at that point, then guess what? You've got to make some throws. And I know there's so many other factors in it. I get it. But at some point, he's got to make the easy ones. And those are things we're just not seeing right now. He's not making the easy throws anymore.
No, and we've talked about it all year long. He's missed throws. He's missed reads. That whole interception situation in the beginning of the season, we could go and pick 2 or 3 a game where he threw it right to guys that were dropping it. I know that happens to all quarterbacks, but it was a little bit more. Brady's luck was really pretty good for the first half of the season. And now the guys are starting to catch him. That's been the difference in the last few weeks. Guys are starting to catch the interceptions that he's been throwing. And we knew, and of course that's going to happen eventually, right? So this is kind of a regression to the mean and of his turnover worthy plays, as PFF likes to call it. So yeah, Brady's got to be better. There's no question about that. And if this team's going, and if this team is going to win the South, he's got to be better this week. He can't miss wide open guys in the end zone this week. He can't miss open guys for first downs. He can't miss screen passes. He needs to, every time, Byron wants to call 3 straight runs into the line in short yardage, he needs to overrule that shit and do something different. So he just needs to be better. This week, he needs to be better and needs to be the best. And moving forward, he needs to be better. And where's the evidence that that's going to happen? Because his line just got worse? No. So, all right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into a little bit of college football with some bowl games coming up. And we got the semifinals are coming up this weekend. And so we're all the teams are getting in place for the semifinals. So we'll hit that a little bit when we come back. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com, in our second half here. If you're looking to lose weight in the new year, no better place, folks. Don't go to some of these chiropractors and weight loss clinics. Most of them are just shooting you up with amphetamines and not giving you any real tools. Get a personalized, medically based plan for you. That's what they do at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Personalized medical plan so you can sustain the weight loss and make long-term changes in the way you eat. Chris Lugo is the best in nutrition. We've had him on many, many times. So if you're looking for somebody to help you that knows what they're doing, it's Chris Lugo and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Back in 3.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate you guys jumping in here. We're brought to you by the Health Insurance Marketplace. It's that time to shop your insurance around. Call 888-325-0605. We just told you about all the great advantages to getting on this plan, but here's the number, 888-325-0605. You still have time to sign up and find out what your subsidy is. And even if you have a employer paid plan, find out what your subsidy is. You might be able to save significant amount of money by going on the Health Insurance Marketplace. And you get Florida Blue insurance like I have. 888-325-0605. Let's get to some of our commentators today. Everybody is in good voice today, so I want to give them their time, and some of them are vehemently disagreeing with us. So, where do you want to start here? Just Jordan Gamillion saying the offensive line is throwing his timing off and wide receivers dropping the ball and running poor routes. Yeah, all of that is going on. There's no question. But when you say the offensive line is throwing his timing off, yes, sometimes they're quarterback pressures, obviously, but many times Brady's also throwing the ball a little bit early. And in terms of the pick to Evans last week, he threw the ball late because he wasn't really trusting the route, and Brady admitted that Evans was running, which is not good either. That's all, bad chemistry, which is weird when you've had 2 years of good chemistry.
It's all got to be better.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the easiest way to put it. It's all got to be better. Brady's got to be better, and this offensive line is not without its flaws. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be better.
Yeah. James says, in terms of Brady going to Miami, I don't believe Brady is going to deal with Miami again. Like Scott Reynolds said, he has an awesome relationship with Joel and Jason. Well, that's great, but I don't think Joel is going to catch any footballs for him, and I don't think Jason is going to be blocking for him. Let's just be honest. It's a better right now. It's a better situation in Miami, I would think, with his kids down there, and the weapons that he would have.
Perhaps,
as much as I love Evans and Godwin, right now, Waddle and Tyreek Hill are a better pair.
But here's the thing. I mean, he's going to be 46 years old.
Yeah.
That's part of me is like, man, at 46 years old, does he really want to uproot everything again and just do everything new all over again and deal with all that?
I think he eventually wants to settle in Miami. So he would actually.
How long? That's what I'm saying. How long is he really?
He doesn't own a house here. This is all temporary. He's living here.
Yeah, but I mean, I think his kids being in Miami, it helps his chances of staying in Tampa. I mean, we might think, it helps his chance to go to Miami. No, it helps his chances of staying in Tampa as well, because he's only how long is a flight from Tampa to Miami?
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Lives on DI. He can get on a private plane and be in Miami.
That's what I'm saying. It's really nothing. So it should help his case. It's just.
Well, it'd be better in Miami, though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me,
You're living across the street from your kids, probably.
Yeah. To me, I mean, I'm going to keep saying it. As long as he's Tom freaking Brady, and as long as Tom Brady wants to keep playing and continues to show that he wants to be here,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the guy, and I know Jason Lake's not going to be the guy to say, no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, I mean,
no way.
If Brady wants to come back here, I say absolutely. Here's what I would do. I would ask Todd Bowles to go back to defensive coordinator. I would hire an offensive-minded head coach who also calls the plays, and I would revamp the entire offense. Not revamp the entire offense because Brady's obviously going to want to do the things he wants to do. But then you solidify the offensive line. Ryan Jensen will be back and hopefully healthy. And is Gronk coming back for 2023? Maybe if you can get him to come back and play. Yeah, I would put the band back together, but I would have to be with a new head coach and a new offensive. And not only a new head coach who's offensive minded, who's going to add to the offense with Brady, but also bring some life to this team. Bring some juice. This team needs some juice at the top. It really does. Todd is a great guy, but football is an emotional game, and this team, because I don't see his assistant coaches or the players. It needs some juice at the top. And if you're going to make a change and bring somebody in with some juice. A Sean McVay type, who's going to really, kind of jack up the energy here. You've seen other coaches do that in other places.
Well, here's the question though. I don't think in a perfect world you would love to see Todd go back to DC, but we don't live in a perfect world, and I doubt that's happening. So I don't know. I still think Bowles,
he wants to still coach. He's going to uproot his family and go to a different team?
There's no way. I cannot see him saying it. If they fire him from the head coach, I can't see him taking a demotion with the same place that fired him. But I don't think he's getting fired as the head coach. See, I don't. Unless they don't win the division. I don't think he's getting fired as the head coach. I think he'll get another year and he'll bring in a new staff. That's my opinion on that.
I don't know. I mean, if I were him, I wouldn't want to uproot my family.
Well, that's football, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's also life. If I'm gonna, if the Glazers are gonna say, look, we're not gonna fire you.
I just think it was a mistake in the first place that he was named, that he was the head coach, and maybe that's me looking at it now because
we all thought it was a great idea.
We thought you thought that keeping the continuity would be a good thing,
yes,
but we just
absolutely.
But again, I think this is more of we just took Bruce Arians for granted, and we didn't give him how much credit he deserved in this whole operation, and we kind of mentioned that, but probably not enough. I just think it was a bad decision by the Bucs, clearly. And they're going to have to live with it. I don't think there's any coming back from that. I think he's either going to be the head coach next year or he's going to be somewhere else.
I think Brady's quick release makes our O-line look better than it is. Average may be a little high with all the injuries. Still no reason to be bottom in scoring. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they're average. I think the coaching staff holds them back more than anything else.
Here's something interesting, okay? I went up here because I wanted to see the stats of everything. And this is from Pro Football Reference, which has all the advanced stats here. The Bucs are giving up pressures on 12.7%, which is actually the best in the league. The best in the league. Giving up pressures 12.7% of the time.
So their offensive line, according to them,
they've given up a total of 88 pressures, which is in the top 5 in the league of least amount given up.
And they throw the ball more than anybody.
And they throw the ball more than anybody, and Brady gets it out quicker than anybody.
Right. So it's hard to, that's what I'm saying is so much of this offensive line talk, it has to do with, like, if I'm an offensive lineman and we're running the same running plays every freaking game and everybody knows what's coming, it's hard to block, man. It's hard to block. You get a creative running game where you get angles where you just have to, a guy's on your inside in the gap and you have to knock him down. That's a lot easier than having to do a reach block every freaking time trying to get in front of these guys. It's a lot about angles, and it always seems like the Bucs are asking their offensive linemen to drive people off the ball, and they're not really good at it.
They're being miscast on what they actually can do.
Yeah, when your running game is the worst in the league, not only by total numbers but by yards per carry, it's something is really, really wrong.
So that tells me that when it's 3rd and 1, let alone 4th and 1. Maybe bully ball and trying to just go up the middle is not exactly the smartest thing.
It's absolutely idiotic. And to do it out of those formations that they do it out of where they pack everybody in, and act like they can bully people. They can't.
Yeah,
they
here's a realistic scenario I agree with. This is from James here. Just hire Bill O'Brien as the OC. Everything's settled to keep Bowles. I think that's a really realistic scenario. A Bill O'Brien, a Todd Monken, somebody from the college game that has some creativity. I think that's the likely scenario what we're going for next year. And he's worked with Tom Brady, by the way.
Yeah,
as his OC before.
Yes, but my God, it's like, to me, Bowles makes too many errors. This team is deteriorated in terms of accountability, in terms of mistakes. They're terrible. His personnel decisions are awful in terms of playing guys where other guys are better. His game management is absolutely awful. How do you bring him back? I mean, you've seen the performance this year. If he was being graded like these players being graded, he'd be. I
think he's going to end up getting the benefit of the doubt of not having his own staff here. I think he's going to end up getting the benefit of the doubt. I really do. And I'm not saying that's my opinion. That's not what I would do.
Yeah.
Necessarily. I think if he won at least one playoff game with this team, knowing how struggle bus it's been, and you lose to like San Francisco or you lose to Philadelphia, I think you probably buy yourself at least another year.
Yeah, okay.
And that would be my opinion.
Okay.
And that'd be what I would do.
If they were to beat the Panthers and win a playoff game, and let's see how they do it.
Yeah.
Let's see how they do it.
But
do they suddenly break out offensively? Does the defense play great? Does Bowles make some great calls? Does he finally change some of the personnel? Does he give Rashad White 30 touches instead of Liz Frank Lenny? I mean, start doing some things that show me that you're clued into the game. Was he going to challenge game-changing plays when they obviously need to be challenged? Because I haven't seen any of that in 15, 16 games.
Yeah.
We haven't seen any of it. And we've seen just the opposite.
I think in general,
so how do you think it's going to get any better?
I think in general, though, if you were to poll everybody, all of Bucs fans, anybody really, that you would probably have no more Bowles next year. And you'd have no Byron Leftwich. I think that would be the consensus. I think.
Well, that's my point. I would do both of those.
I would do those things. I just don't think the Bucs are going to. I think Byron's gone, but I just don't think Bowles is, unless barring that they don't win the division. Barring they don't win the division, I think he'd probably get another year.
So they're playing for. It's interesting because both teams are probably playing for their coaches' jobs on Sunday.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, because if Wilkes wins the South after they jettisoned CMC and Robbie Anderson and their coach, and he turned it around like this, he's got you got to hire him. He's got to get the job.
Yeah.
And if Bowles can't win a division where nobody is over 500 with Tom Brady, you're fired.
I don't see there's no argument there. There's really no argument there.
Yeah, but I just look. Yeah, I know there'll be some backlash if they do it, but I just look at his performance, and again, I think he's a hell of a defensive coordinator.
Well,
But
he's going to be a hell of a defensive coordinator somewhere else.
He's just not. Is there precedent in the NFL? I think there is for coaches being demoted. I don't know, but whatever. If I were in Todd Bowles' shoes, I would definitely take my $4 or $5 million to be the defensive coordinator here, and still work with these players. Shaq Barrett coming back, and I don't know. That's just me though. What other comments do we have? Jordan Gamillion says Brady has to rush throws due to anticipation of the rush. He's at his best when he trusts his line. Yeah, absolutely, but it's hard to trust him sometimes. I get it. And I think when he was younger, he would have trusted it more because he could absorb hits. He knows now that one big hit, he's done. The offensive line throwing his timing off, wide receivers dropping the ball and poor running routes. Yeah, we've definitely seen that. James has a lot of the floor. We're not going to put that up. Brady, what is it? Brady told Gronk no 1 year deal. What does that mean? He doesn't want Gronk on a 1 year deal?
I have no idea.
Well, that would be interesting. Any other comments we want to throw up here? We thank you guys for jumping in each and every day, though. Thank you very much.
That's good on the comments for now.
Okay.
But good discussion, though.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I'll always jump in here, and you guys can check out the comments as well on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page as well. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll hit the colleges next. We have this break. We'll come back. We'll talk about some of the semifinals. Florida State playing tomorrow night in the Cheez-It Bowl. Big game for them, and I think they're going to absolutely roll Oklahoma. Am I being a homer here? Am I being a homer? Okay, we'll discuss when we come back. We're brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and Italiano Insurance. Great time to do your insurance checkup. Business insurance, home insurance, auto insurance, all those things. Prices change all the time. Let them do all the work. Shop it around and see if they can save you some money. It's not just what you make. It's what you keep, folks. 813-877-7799. The great folks at Italiano Insurance. Back at 3. Merry Christmas. Santa Claus here for the Golden Diamond Source. All right, it's JP. The holidays are the best time for engagements, right? And where better to get that special ring than the Golden Diamond Source? They have the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. So avoid all the mall madness and the parking and all that BS and stay local, right? With the Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub are the family jewelers, and they'll treat you like family. And, of course, they do so many great things in the community. I was just at their Hands Across the Bay, a charity event. So many people stepped up to give money for these women that have been victims of domestic abuse. It is something to behold when these women come forward and talk about what Julie and Steve have done for them. And the Golden Diamond Source funds Hands Across the Bay, and so many other great companies jump in. That's what it's all about, community, right? So let's keep it local for the holidays. If you want a perfect gift for the holidays, you should check out the unique and beautiful handcrafted jewelry from the Emilique and Julieve collections that feature fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry. And don't forget, for the holidays only, 3 to 5 year interest-free financing. It's a no-brainer. For the holidays, it's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, we're getting to the hodgepodge portion of the show where we hit a bunch of different stories here that are interesting out there. We'll start with college football as as we welcome you back. The JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Tomorrow we will have Scott Carter on from FloridaGators.com to talk about recruiting, how the Gators did, and what the future holds for them. Will Jack Miller be their starting quarterback moving forward?
Yep.
We shall see what's going on. So he'll join us tomorrow at 11 o'clock for our Jeeves Law Group Gator Report.
You noticed the move I just made, right?
No.
Since we were talking college football now, yeah. I went off with the Florida State hoodie, and I went on with the UCF polo.
Oh, okay.
Because we are now, 2 hours till kickoff.
That's right.
In
UCF.
Annapolis.
That's right.
So
in the Military Bowl in Annapolis.
Military Bowl.
UCF, are the Citronauts traveling a good group up to Annapolis?
Nearly full group. Yeah.
They'll be well represented.
Yeah.
So give us a little a preview of the game, Mr. March On Knights or whatever.
Well, I don't feel good about it.
You don't feel good about it?
I don't feel good about it, no. I don't like the way UCF ended the season. Not a lot of momentum there going into this one. Duke on their first-year head coach, Mike Elko, 8-4 season in the ACC. Had a great year. So UCF's had a lot of guys kind of move in and out of the portal as well. So they're going to be a little bit depleted in some areas, especially on defense. So really chilly game. I kind of favor Duke in that one a little bit.
Okay. All right. FSU plays tomorrow night in the Cheez-It Bowl against Oklahoma. That line's moved from 7.5 to 9.5. Oklahoma has a bunch of opt-outs in this game. I think they have lost 4 of their last 6 games. They've been awful.
It's not been good.
They have been awful. And FSU has won 6 in a row. They don't have any opt-outs. They're treating this game like their entree to 23. And Jordan Travis is like, yeah, we are locked in. They're going to have a full stadium of FSU fans. It's probably going to be 70% FSU fans, and it will be full at Camping World Stadium. So I don't know. I don't see how Oklahoma stays with them at all. Their defense is awful, god-awful. FSU leads the league, leads the nation in explosive plays.
I was going to say.
They're running the football at an 8-yard per carry clip.
Yeah.
I mean.
I was going to say, if you're Brent Venables, if you're a first-year head coach, I do subscribe to the theory that year one, I need to see what you're good at kind of shine through.
Right.
USC had that with Caleb Williams and Lincoln Wright. The offense was amazing.
Incredible.
I'm expecting Oklahoma to have a stout defense this year. And I think it was arguably worse this year than it was under Lincoln Riley.
Yes.
With Brent Venables. So that's a problem. Yeah, I got it right. They're ranked like in the 120th in the nation.
Yeah.
Here in total defense. So
FSU is going to put up 50 points.
I will say, though, I don't know how much this matters, but the Brent Venables has a lot of experience coaching against these guys, and a Jordan Travis. I saw he was speaking this morning, and he had high praise for Jordan Travis.
Of course,
so
why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? He's played against him. He's kind of seen the maturation of Jordan Travis, having played him every single year, and now he's going to get him this year as well. So I don't know how much that'll play into it. The fact that at least Venables knows how to game plan against these guys. We'll see, but no, I joke with you, but I don't think you're being a homer if you think that FSU is going to roll here, because I think these programs are just in opposite directions right now.
Yeah, and so much of what happens in these bowl games is the buy-in. Like, what's the team? You look at the Gators. The Gators they get the season over. Anthony Richardson's gone.
Early bowl game,
going to Las Vegas, and then was it Washington State, right? Or who'd they play? No, the Oregon State. Oregon State. The Beavers were on a roll. They were building momentum, coming off a huge win over their rival. Just a couple weeks after that, it was just 2 teams headed in the opposite directions, and they got waxed. Was it 30-3?
Yep.
So this looks a lot like that to me, quite frankly. So anyway, and then we got the semifinals coming up a little bit later this week. What is that? Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night.
Yep.
You got it. I mean, how do you balance the New Year's Eve festivities with watching these games?
Now, what are New Year's Eve festivities? What are those?
I got a party to go to at the club. It's like getting dressed up, that whole thing. My girl's not going to be one to sit and plopping down in front of the TV to take.
I don't think I've seen.
I do not like these semifinal games on New Year's Eve. I think it's stupid.
No, I love it. Well, I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen the ball drop in about 3 years.
Yeah.
I've fallen asleep. So that's why I'm like, what festivities do you do on New Year's Eve?
Well,
so that's why I kind of like these games
your
a little bit.
Your significant other has to come into play here. You'll find that out as you get married.
My significant other goes to bed at like 9 o'clock every night.
Well, not on New Year's Eve.
You want to try that theory?
I don't know. Well, anyway, does TCU have a chance? Does TCU have any chance whatsoever to muster up the physicality needed to handle Michigan?
I mean, Max Duggan is a gamer.
He is.
I think he's a gamer. You think of as an NFL prospect.
I
don't think that much of him yet, but he has a chance to improve that. As long as Quentin Johnston is playing, and he is, I think they're going to have a shot to stay in it because they are, I mean, as good as any quarterback, wide receiver duo in the league. And I think he's the number one receiver in this draft, Quentin Johnston is. So, and I still think he's relatively unknown on the big stage. So a big game for him. But I don't know. Michigan, to me, they just look like they're on a mission. They look like they're on a mission. Jim Harbaugh looks like he's on a mission. I mean, last year they got super close. They got waxed by Georgia. They come back this year. I felt like even as an undefeated team, they were kind of floating under the radar, and they were just waiting for that Ohio State game and just went out there and absolutely smacked them. You've had now a month where Blake Corum's been able to rest, right? And even his backup, Donovan Edwards, is like just as good as him. So, and J.J. McCarthy makes enough plays. I just think Michigan's far too talented here, far too deep. And obviously they have the experience from last year to go off of. I think they're going to be ready to go in this one. So, yeah, I just don't think TCU has the guys to stay in this one. Great story, though. Great story, and I'm sure a lot of America will be rooting like hell for him, but I can't see it myself.
All right, so that's the 4 o'clock game on Saturday. The 8 o'clock game, Ohio State against Georgia in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, kind of a home game for Georgia. They love that place. And Ohio State, I think, I just don't think they have I just think they're too soft to go up against Georgia. I think
That's a fair criticism.
I think Georgia is going to beat them up physically, offensively and defensively. Stroud's going to have to play his biggest game of this year. But I can tell you one thing right now. Kirby Smart's going to be sitting in that locker room, dropping every F-bomb he can, telling you we're going to hit him and we're going to hit him hard. The quarterback must be hit hard and go down hard.
Yeah, and he's got a lot to prove right now. I've been seeing a lot of people are kind of down on him from an NFL standpoint at the moment.
Who's that?
CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people kind of down on him. It just feels like Ohio State all year long, something's missing.
Yeah.
In general, under Ryan Day, something's been missing, has it not?
I think it's that physicality, badass mentality that the Ohio State used to have.
And I say that as a team that makes the playoff every single year, and you could pencil them in for 11, 12 wins. But It just feels like to win a national championship, something is missing. And I do feel the physicality is a big thing for sure.
Yeah.
And they've had a lot of injuries too on the offensive side. I mean, in Jigba, I mean, you saw that guy last year and you were like, that guy's a top 5 pick.
Yeah. When he's playing, he's as good as anybody.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like a lot of people think he's like a borderline first round pick.
Yeah. Well, not because he doesn't want to play.
Because he didn't play.
Yeah. He doesn't, he doesn't seem to have any toughness to him and toughness to his game. And you can be the greatest athlete in the world and you can show that off in college football. But when you get to the NFL, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit. You're going to get manhandled. And I'm not sure if he has that. He would have proven something to me by playing in these games and playing well, but it's almost like he's hiding from, exposing himself.
He could just still be injured. I mean,
could be.
It's a hard thing to balance. I mean, he's a he could be a first round pick.
I get it.
Like, do you want to rush back from injury? I mean, it's just college football now.
Yeah,
it's college football.
Yeah, I get it. It's individual for people to make those calls. So, and some of the there's some good games. Like I'm interested in the Tennessee Clemson game, which is Friday night at 8 o'clock. That's going to be interesting.
First look at Cade Klubnik, his first start.
Yeah.
Which, did you see the story on him, by the way? He was part of this whole flight cancellation thing.
No.
And his parents had to pick him up, and they drove him 20 hours to Miami to get there in time for practice. Cade Klubnik.
Yeah, there's so many people.
Talk about dedicated parents right there.
It's crazy out there.
And then I wrote this story yesterday, the Pitt football players that were stranded in Dallas.
Oh, yes.
And the UTEP El Paso there. Head basketball coach Joe Golding was in the same predicament in Dallas with his family and just saw these guys wearing Pitt stuff and was like, I wonder if they're going to El Paso, and started talking to them, and they were all stranded. And so he invited them to come with his wife and his sons, and they got in a car together and drove 600 miles together to El Paso.
Nine guys?
So 3 guys.
It's a pretty big car.
Yeah, pretty big car. His 2 sons, so 7 of them.
Yeah, they must have rented a van or something. Good for him. Good for him. And there, there's a lot of people that are stranded out there. It's
Southwest Airlines is like getting absolutely killed right now.
Well, Well, when you fire all your pilots and everybody over some BS stuff, then, and you're down 30% in your employees, well, stuff's going to happen, because Southwest has always been the best run airline, and now it's a complete freaking disaster.
I don't know much about the airline industry, but I see like all the bags. There's like thousands of bags just sitting there unattended.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, that's going to be a good game. Alabama, Kansas State. That's an interesting game in the Sugar Bowl. That's going to be Saturday at noon. TCU and Michigan. We already talked about that one. And of course, the ReliQuest Bowl, Mississippi State and Illinois. They're in town. Of course, the death of Mike Leach hanging over that game, and hopefully Mississippi State goes out and really celebrates their coach's memory, which I think they will. I think they'll play really hard for him in that situation. I like Mississippi State in that game for the emotional edge in that one. Texas and Washington is an interesting matchup. Maryland and NC State, an old ACC matchup. Pitt UCLA is Friday at 2:00. That's another interesting game. Notre Dame and South Carolina. Boy, South Carolina really came on at the end. 8-4 under Shane Beamer. So yeah, we got some good bowl games coming up this week. Really looking forward.
It's about the time I start tuning in. Like, no offense, I have not been watching the Bahama Bowl. Yesterday, I think Buffalo was playing. I don't even know who they were playing.
Georgia Southern.
There you go. Like, those, they don't exactly jump off the page for me, if I'm being honest.
East Carolina took it to Coastal Carolina last night, 53-29. Hope you had a little bit of East Carolina money. East Carolina actually had a pretty good season.
Yeah, they did.
Good season.
They beat UCF, ruined our season.
Yeah, yeah, they did, didn't they? That was the one. Yeah. Here's a really interesting story. As we get so deep into sports gambling has become so much more prevalent now that it's been legalized. So you're going to see a lot more of these stories. Check this out. The betting market, once again, was ahead of the news last week, resulting in a 2-hour flurry of well-informed wagering that left sportsbooks exposed on the biggest NFL game of the holiday weekend. Point spread of the Eagles-Cowboys game had been moving for 2 hours last Monday afternoon before Adam Schefter reported at 4:20 that Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts was uncertain to play. In that 2-hour span, the Cowboys went from 1.5-point favorites to as high as 6-point favorites at some sports books, which, what did the Cowboys win by?
6.
It's bizarre. How do they know? Because they know. This is Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading for Caesars Sportsbook, said, "We saw a couple of bets on the Cowboys from people that we respected. We didn't see anything untoward, but we did see a couple of bets. Obviously, there are not stupid people. They're smart players. Bettors didn't just target the Eagles-Cowboys point spread based on Hurts' injuries. The informed money also went on the odds to win the MVP. During that same 2-hour stretch, Hurts went from -145 to as long as +425 at Caesars Sportsbook. At the same time, quarterback Pat Mahomes emerged as the favorite, attracting multiple 5-figure bets and moving from +170 to short as -350. Wow, that is a huge, huge move. So this is proprietary information. Somebody got it before Adam Schefter got it. Somebody in the Philadelphia organization probably got it out to a lot of, let's just say, bookies in the Philadelphia area. And that's why you got to watch these point spread moves. You got to watch them and see what's going on. And interesting that I guess it closed at most places at Dallas -4, but that was a significant move.
Hey, speaking of this betting, by the way, this reminds me of a story that came out again last week when we were on break. Did you see the Miles Austin?
Yeah.
So he gets suspended for a year, at least a year, for betting on games that not even NFL games, a completely another sport. He gets suspended a year for that.
That's ridiculous.
And here, jog my memory. Calvin Ridley, albeit he was hurt at the time, was betting on his own team last year, the Falcons.
Yeah.
And he was suspended for a year. So how do those two things equate to the same punishment?
They don't. This is
this is besides the fact that the NFL promotes gambling and betting all over the place, and we literally have advertisements on Fox every single day about win Terry's money and all this kind of stuff.
It's so hypocritical.
Like,
it's
what
so incredibly hypocritical.
I don't understand.
I understand that you can't have any illusions whatsoever that players are part of the gambling structure. I get that 100%. But you got to look at exactly what's going on. And the weird stuff is about the players is how do they find out? Are they monitoring the players' phones? Like, I don't know exactly how that's doing. I mean, that's a little bizarre, right? But I guess in this world, we understand that there is no privacy anymore whatsoever. If you're doing it on your phone, everybody knows whatever it is, they can find out. So I don't know. The games can't survive without gambling. It's at the heart of the popularity.
Literally, the NFL legit benefits so much from a viewership standpoint and from an engagement standpoint on social media because of gambling. That's why they promote it so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand the Ridley thing. I get all that. I just don't understand this one. I don't. Like, why is that in the protocol that you can't bet, period, on anything?
Because if you get in, their fear is if you get in too deep with gamblers, you're going to give them proprietary information to get out of that. That's supposedly what happened with Pete Rose. He got in so deep that, they start giving, it's like, hey, I know you owe me, $500,000 right now, but, you give me some inside scoop on 3 or 4 games this week and we'll wipe off your debt.
Yeah.
Who's not going to do that? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's part of it. That's why, so many times you look at some of the calls that are made in these games that are game-changing calls, are they monitoring the refs' phones as well? I mean,
they're monitoring everybody.
Yeah. I mean, and you start looking at, this is not just endemic to the NFL. There was a huge gambling scandal in soccer as well, in international soccer. So it's everywhere. When there's this much money on the line, people are going to cheat. And that's why if you're betting, you got to understand that what's going on out there. And this year, it's been crazy. The underdogs have really, really fared well this year, big time. So, but that's, especially in the NFL, that's kind of the standard operating procedure. But I think it's been much more this year as well. All right. Some baseball news. Sean Murphy gets a 6-year, $73 million contract from the Braves, who traded for him. Boy, look what the Braves have done since they built their new stadium. Look how much money they've been able to spend and how they've been able to attract free agents.
Well, they spend it efficiently.
They really do.
As well. I had this list right here. Listen to these names that they have just completely wrapped up here. Ozzie Albies is on a 7-year, $35 million deal.
Wow.
Ronald Acuna, 8 years, $100 million. Matt Olson, 8 years, $168 million. Austin Riley, 10 years, $212 million. Spencer Strider, 7 years, $92 million. And now Sean Murphy, 7 years, $88 million. And then Michael Harris, the rookie, 8 years, $72 million.
How the hell are the Rays supposed to compete with that?
I mean,
they're supposed to spend some of the money they make, but they don't. I mean, you got no chance. And I know they're in the National League, but I'm just teams in general are spending money like this. And
spending money, but this is still like a bargain for every single player here.
It's a lot of money, though. Those are good, efficient contracts. I mean, some of them may be a little bit too long for my liking.
All these guys are young, though.
Yeah, true.
They're all young.
Yeah, and they've locked them up. And the Rays did that with Wander Franco.
Yeah, like his Wander's contract is kind of similar to the Austin Riley.
Right. Yeah. So they're but they just don't have as many good players because they can't get they're not trading for them or they're not collecting as many good players.
I found it interesting yesterday. ESPN, and I mean it's just one person's ranking, but ESPN came out with their rankings heading to the season based on everything that's happened so far. And the Rays were number 5 in these rankings.
In the American League?
No. In the entire big leagues right now, 5.
The power rankings?
The power rankings, yes.
The Rays.
Your Tampa Bay Rays with a projection to win 95 games this year.
With that lineup?
And do you want to guess the team that they were ahead of?
The Yankees?
The Houston Astros.
Come on. Who's it? What idiot is this?
This was ESPN right here. yesterday. I even said that on Twitter. I'm like, I love that the Rays got respect here because I love them getting respect, but ahead of the Astros? No.
No way.
Even with losing a Verlander, no.
Yeah, I don't get
I
that.
don't know. I mean, listen, the Rays lineup, we talk a lot of, I mean, you know how I feel about, just squarely basing things off of analytics and all that. I think we're pretty lockstep in that. I mean, I think they're useful, don't get me wrong, and I love some stats, but there's some that I think take it completely overboard when I can't use my eyes. But according to like all these like streamer projections of like the offense and going off of like OPS plus, I think the Rays were ranked number 1 in having the most players on any team in baseball with players projected to have an over 100 OPS plus, which is average. And so a lot of people have excitement for that. Now I just don't. But again,
what is
number
that
one
based on, man?
But again,
did they watch this team play?
Number 1 on the list though is Yandy Diaz, and my rebuttal to that is I love Yandy Diaz, but if that's the number 1 guy, is that good enough?
No. I mean, Yandy's a good player, but he's not a huge difference maker. This team needs guys to drive in runs, and it's great to get guys on base, but if you can't drive them in, what good is it? They need RBI producers, and those are special kind of guys. It's not, and it doesn't always go to average. It doesn't always go. It's guys that hit at the right time, who make them, and that's a mentality. Some guys are just great RBI producers. They consistently produce more than their mean numbers, and because they're constantly hitting with runners in scoring position. They have the best average with runners in scoring position because they rise to the occasion. And where are the Rays players that do that in this lineup?
We've seen some of them be able to do it.
Yeah.
With health and maybe. I mean, I've been saying this. A lot of guys in this lineup are really streaky.
Yes.
A little too streaky for my taste.
Which is easy to pitch around. When guys are in slumps, pitchers know it. So you can pitch, and when guys are hot, they know it too. You can pitch around guys. Hold
on real quick. I'm just going to put this comment up on the stream if you would like to go back.
Go ahead. Bring Longo.
Longo will get the bats going.
Sure he will. Bringing in that 240 average and, hit.
Hey, you talk about all the time. Hold on.
runs
Let's just be real here, though. This is a real conversation. You talk an awful lot about the Rays doing well by their fans,
right,
and making them happy and not pissing them off. I'm just saying, every single Rays fan that I've seen on Twitter, and I know Twitter is not the entire population, but I feel like the general Rays population would agree, wants to see him return for one more season. We want him back. He's the greatest player in the history of this franchise, and they want him back for one more year, and he appears to be maybe open to it.
Listen,
do well by your fans and make it happen.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine with me. You want to placate, finally do one thing for the fans? Does that sound like something that the Rays like to do? Do something for the fans? No.
Well, I would love it.
It's constantly the middle finger to the fans. I don't get it. And while we're still in the baseball mode, you were telling me that, and I don't pay a whole lot of attention to what the Red Sox are doing, but Chaim Bloom has certainly taken them in a different direction that I'm sure the owner likes in terms of making money. But my God, they have lost so many good players.
Listen, I get what the Red Sox are going for. Let's bring in a guy from the Rays front office. They're all smart and unicorns and can find all this great talent. I get it. But you are the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit. There was a time when the teams that spent the most money in the league were the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Dodgers.
Yep.
There's probably about 10 to 12 teams I would say are probably looking to pay guys more than the Red Sox are now. They're not even trying to keep their guys. Not even trying. And they haven't even signed Devers long-term yet, and all the Red Sox fans are scared that Chaim Bloom's not going to sign him either.
Whoa.
It's bad right now in Boston.
Dude, their payroll is $112 million.
The Boston Red Sox.
What?
Yeah. $112 million.
Holy crap. Where does that rank? Well, let's find out.
That's literally about where I keep saying like the Rays could probably be on their high end, and that's where
Red
the
Sox are 16th.
16th.
They're below league average.
Yep.
They're below league average.
The Colorado Rockies are spending more than them.
By a lot. Oh my! So are the Blue Jays. So are the Cubs, the White Sox, the Giants. I mean, so are the Braves. I mean, you look at that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
They're
A lot of
16th?
fans are very outraged at Heim.
They should be. They should be.
Because they just lost Nathan Eovaldi yesterday, and it didn't look like they even really entertained much of even bringing him back.
You got to understand, Boston, like their revenues are in the $300 to $400 million.
Yeah.
I mean, a year.
And let's also, they traded Mookie Betts because they had to get him or JD out of the way because of the luxury tax. So they traded Mookie Betts to keep JD, and now they got none of them. They didn't sign Bogarts back. They lost Eovaldi. Chris Sale, I don't even freaking know.
He done.
That team's just not going to be. That's not a good baseball team right now.
And there's no reason for it. Like if you're you're Chaim Bloom.
You're the Boston Red Sox. Spend the money.
Chaim, you don't try to recreate the Rays. You try to recreate the Dodgers. You do what Andrew Friedman's done with the Dodgers is you use that payroll money and you use your knowledge of analytics and everything else. And they seem very diametrically opposed. Obviously, it's like how do you it's a totally different approach. But I think you integrate them together, you get what the Dodgers have done, which they probably could have won more World Series, but they're there every year and they're winning 112.
That's
games.
that's the thing. It's
ridiculous.
like if the Rays want to invent a new way of winning, if the A's, which did it for 20 years, want to invent a new way of winning, we're more understanding of that.
Yeah, it's more.
You are the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, you can pay $200 million in payroll and still make a hefty profit each and every year. That's what the bigger teams do. But now you're giving up your huge advantage that you have to spend money like the Tigers. That's incredible. Right now the Rays active payroll is $31 million.
31 million?
That's not that's not counting all the arbitration guys. I think I'm pretty sure. Let me.
No. You know what? At least the Rays didn't give Rich Hill $8 million like I saw one team do the other day.
Well, I mean, Rich pitched. He pitched.
He's 43.
Yeah,
and the Pirates gave him
Pirates. Wow. Yeah. Their total active payroll right now was $31 million. Projected total payroll is $73 million. So they'll be at $73 million. I mean, that's just a joke. That's just a joke. The Mets are spending $350 million, I think. What are they spending? Something ridiculous. All right. That'll do it for us here today on a Wednesday. If you missed Dave Mishkin in the 10:15 segment, go back and check that out. Really great conversation. There's the Lightning welcome in Les Habitants tonight. I will be there doing my Lightning thing. So hope to see you at the game tonight. Puck drop 7:00. Please get there early. We don't want a half-filled stadium when the puck drops, which has been the norm lately. So let's get there a little bit earlier, folks. There is traffic, so remember that. And we will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. Scott Carter is going to join us with the Gator Report tomorrow. Also, Pat Burnham will join us from Orlando with a FSU preview of the Cheez-It Bowl. So we will see you then. Have a great day, everybody.